it's Sandra. I'm here live on day 26 of APAM, Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month, celebrating our diversity across the spectrum and our differences within it. Thank you for joining me. If you've just tuned into this channel, please do subscribe if you haven't already, because this is a place to be for education about asexuality. And don't forget to hit that big bell button so you get notified of every time I post a new video. Now, this video is earlier than I was usually post at the moment for APAM, but I needed to do it because if you've been following me for the last couple of live streams, you'll know that I went dancing on Tuesday and I danced with a sexual guy, and I did have a really good time, but he was highly sexually driven, shall we say. And he was Indian, which is my very favourite type of attraction towards Indian guys, but sadly not asexual. Now, I had such a good time dancing with him, but my neck is in a lot of pain, like it hurts all down here. And I have to put gel on it, but I really need to put my night clothes on to do that. So I want to do this video right now, so then afterwards I can go and put gel on there, because it goes all into my hair. And it's like I've pulled a muscle. And so I do have fibromyalgia. I don't really talk about it very much. And you can get with dancing, like my legs are usually worst affected area, but I absolutely adore dancing. And if I have any problems or issues with anything like that, it usually comes out not the next day, but the day after that. So it's usually 48 hours and then there's a problem. And so yeah, and so I was okay Tuesday evening when I was dancing, and then I was all right Wednesday all day, and then it started to pain me on Thursday. And it's really hurting and sore today, so I think I've pulled a muscle. So it's really, a nightmare, but I have to go and do that soon, because I can't really get anything else done on my computer at the moment till I've put some stuff on that to make it better. So I just want to record this for you live and give you the lowdown. So I had a mini asexual meetup today, which was absolutely incredible. I saw my mate Keith, who lives in Exeter. We both on the lookout for a relationship, but totally opposite to each other and not each other's type whatsoever. But as a mate to meet up with now and again, we're cool. We're really good. And then I met a newbie to my meets, and he was really, really sweet and adorable guy. Hello, Michael. Thanks for tuning in. I wasn't sure if you'd be able to tune in at this time of day, so thank you. Really appreciate that. So I was explaining about the mini meet I had. So Keith is in my city, so I meet up with him sometimes outside of meets on his own, and he is like my second in command at meetups. So it's always good if you're arranging meetups and you can get another person to help you out sometimes. So basically, when I arrange asexual meetups, for example, my bigger ones, where people come from all over the UK to them, I have people arriving at different times. Some on the coach and some on the bus, and some need picking up from the coach or bus station where they're at opposite ends of the city. So if I can't get to my own meetup time, if you like, then Keith will be there to greet and meet people whilst I'm picking people up from the bus station or the train station, or if they've already come their hotel. So but you know, if I need to pick people up from the hotel as well, especially if they have anxiety, I need to kind of pick them up and make sure I do. So I met up with Keith, and then I met up with this boy that I haven't ever met with before, and he was so sweet and adorable. A biromantic with a preference for guys. So yeah, he was just adorable. Really, really lovely guy. Really nice guy. Really pleased to be his friend. Really nice to meet him. And hopefully he'll come more to meet us again. It's really good. He doesn't live too far away either, and I felt really comfortable. Visa problem. I have a visa problem. Is this an asexual basically that some foreign guys do, or is it the truth? So I get a lot of foreign guys interested in me from abroad, right? And I try not to get involved or attached to any of them now, because they can't come over here. And I've had time and time again where, I got a particular attraction for Indian guys, but they just say anything you want to hear, basically, to get you to be emotionally attached to them. And they try to get a visa out of you, and it's horrible, and you don't know who's genuine and who isn't. That is the problem. So I posted on my Facebook recently that I danced with this Indian guy that wasn't asexual, and that I'm really looking forward to one day meeting my asexual Indian soulmate wherever he may be, because I know he's out there. I feel him every day. And then this Indian guy who's on my friends list, who likes a lot of my posts, I spoke about this guy a couple of days ago. He started messaging me, and then he started saying all about this stuff about how can we be together, and he's not asexual, you know. And yesterday he was messaging me again, so I said, well, you know, I think it's good if you get a nice sexual woman for you who you can move to live near, you know. And I've tried to explain to him that you know, that I'm not, you know, you're after a visa and I'm not interested basically in that. It's like, oh no, I like you, you know. But they always use this line. So when I was at the meetup, I showed one of my, well, the younger guy in particular, I was showing him the messages. And I mean, the messages from this guy, this Indian guy, so romantic. In an ideal romantic scenario, great, yeah, long walks together, holding hands, sitting on a bench together, watching this moon in midnight, you know, all the sort of really romantic stuff. But I know very well now that Indian guys like to get, or foreign guys, not just Indian guys, but it's mostly Indian guys because that's who I interact with the most. You know, they like to get you emotionally hooked. I mean, he's trying to get me to be emotionally opening up to him. I know what he's trying to do, but the way he's talking to me. And it is hard not to sometimes, but, you know, I don't know the guy. And, you know, he's already talking about coming over here when I don't even know him. And it's like, well, fine, but, you know, he's like, I have the visa problem. I'm like, yes. Amount of times I've heard Indian guys and foreign guys goes, I've got a visa problem. Like, I just want to reach out to you and say that if any of you are listening to this and you have a foreign person saying they've got a visa problem and they're trying to put the onus on you to help them, you don't have to do nothing to help them. It is their responsibility, if they want to get into your country, to get into your country themselves. It isn't your responsibility to go and find out how to do it. It isn't your responsibility to go and make it happen for them. It's not your responsibility to write a letter approving their personality or their character to get into your country. It's not your job to do that. Don't let them make you feel guilty or bad. I haven't had anyone try this with me. Yeah, Michael. It might be because you're aromantic that you're, you know, and people know that I'm romantic, and they know, you know, if they cotton on to the fact that I like foreign guys, you know, particularly got a thing with foreign guys, they kind of grip onto that fact. And with asexuals in particular, right, they know with asexuals it's very hard for us to get a partner, right? Very hard for us to get, you know, I'm talking, you know, people that want a relationship, probably more romantics want a partner, a life partner, a relationship, a romantic relationship. And kind of they play on that emotion because romantic sort of notion is very an emotional thing. You get emotional attachment with it. So by getting you emotionally hooked on them, you know, it's their way of them being able to make you feel like you want to be with them so badly. You want them to be in your country that you will do anything to get them in here and help them. That's how it works. It plays on it. And when I showed the young guy everything, well, not everything, the last bit of the conversation, this Indian guy from his country who's not asexual wrote, he said, oh, I feel quite sorry for him that he wants all that stuff, like all the romance and stuff. But I don't feel sorry for him. I think, yeah, in an ideal world, that'd be nice because it'd be something I'd like to do. But he's probably just saying that because he knows that's what I want to hear. And with asexuals, because it's so difficult for us to get a relationship and get someone to love us without sex, and he knows that, and a lot of these people know that, they kind of use that as a weapon for emotional control and manipulation to get you to help them to get in their help them to get them in your country. And so it can be very deceiving and very manipulative. And at first it can be dressed as sweet, innocent, kind, caring, really like you a lot, really love you, think you're awesome. I mean, they don't even know you. And then, you know, it's getting that emotional attachment. Like he was saying, oh, I'm getting a little bit jealous. Like, what, he's been talking to me for a few days. I mean, I've been friends with him for a bit longer than that on Facebook. We haven't really talked before. And I said I was having a meetup because I'm a little bit jealous. Oh, tell me all about it. When I speak to you, it's like, well, no, I don't owe you anything. And so he's going, oh, how was it? How was it? You know, how are you feeling? I just felt, but yeah, good, thanks. Feel great. And that's all he's going to get out of me. Because he wants me, he goes, oh, maybe you can share your day with me. Yeah. If he was a romantic partner and I was in a romantic relationship with him, then I would want to share my day with him. I would want to share all that time with him. But I don't know this guy. He's unlikely to ever be able to get over here, but that's the other thing he's saying, that, oh, there's going to be a way, I'm going to do it and all the rest of it. I've heard it a million times before. I mean, that is a bit of an exaggeration, but in comparison to the overwhelming amount of times I've heard that type of thing, it's a lot. I had one Indian guy who was asexual, and for 9 months, if you watched one of my previous videos recently, I said that for 9 months, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, for 9 months I thought he really cared about me. I actually thought he had some proper love for me, because he said I love you off the cuff once, like not premeditated. And I actually, I thought we had a bond. But, I just found out he was using me for business, and using me because he had no money to try and get business opportunities. And it was disgusting. It's like, why do these people bother? But they do it because they're desperate, and they see a vulnerability. And the vulnerability is, they think asexuals are that sort of desperate for the love and the attention, the affection, without the sex, if you like, the romantic ones of us, sometimes, that they will cling to that, and they will use it to their advantage to try and manipulate you to get you to do what they want. And it's just horrible. And this guy is trying to get me to emotionally attach to him by what he's saying to me. Like, he wants me to share my days with him. He keeps trying to talk to me more. And he's saying I don't need sex. Do you think I'm all about that? Blah, blah, blah. But in a few messages, like previously, or was it the day before last, he's there going, oh yeah, well, sex comes after you've formed a strong emotional connection. And I'm like, no, because I'm asexual. It doesn't work that way. I'm not sexually attracted to anyone. I don't feel that. It doesn't matter how much I love someone, I'm never going to want sex with them or get the need or the urge for it. It doesn't happen. And it won't happen. You see what I mean? But by him even saying that, I know that his mind's thinking that. His mind's thinking, yeah, I'll get her emotionally hooked, so she'll want to do the stuff like that with me. And it's not true. I won't. I tried to explain to him, go and get a nice sexual woman, but he won't have any of it at the moment. But, there's a way that my friend taught me. Sounds like they confuse asexuality and demisexuality. They don't even know what demisexuality is. They don't even know what asexual means. He just, in a lot of men, you're on about the emotional connection. No, a lot of men emotionally manipulate women, whether they're sexual, asexual, or whatever. They emotionally manipulate women into getting what they want, because through psychology, because I study a lot of personal and professional development, through psychology, women love emotionally. That's how they fall in love. Men love physically. This is a typical heterosexual alpha male type person I'm talking about, type of love. So a male lives physical, it's like the sex and the physical, like caveman alpha male instinct to like procreate. And the woman's more emotional, and how they talk to each other. Like, the woman's got more words. This is what I've learned in psychology. Conventionally, woman's got more words. Like, a woman has like 3,000 words compared to a man's like 1,000 or 1,500 words. And it's the way the psychological sexes work in their brain, the way they talk as well. So there's a lot of guys that will try and emotionally manipulate anyone, regardless of where you're asexual or not. But I just know that with asexuals, there's more of a vulnerability there, as is with lots of women that have got low self-esteem, or people in general. I mean, it's not just women. I'm just talking about it from a female perspective, because obviously I'm not male. But there was 2 videos I did not so long ago, on last month I think it was, on abuse with guys, sexual abuse, which is physical, and emotional abuse with guys, because it does happen with guys. I know guys who like guys, homo-romantics, that have been emotionally manipulated by other guys, and they've been having these text relationships, like long distance relationship by text, and the other guys going off and wanting sex with loads of other guys and chatting loads of other guys up, and they're making that person, that guy, feel really bad and small and insignificant if he's sort of like not paying attention to him and not giving him what he wants. He's emotionally, so it's not just with women, it is not just an asexual thing. But as this is an asexual channel, I just want to point out that there's one huge vulnerability, and that is that when we have more of a need to be in a relationship, and more of a need to have romantic love, it's it's like that's more of a vulnerability of them to attack us in a manipulative way so that they can get what they desire out of us, because we're not likely to be able to get a sexual person that can give us love without sex. So if they can say that they can give us that, that makes us want them more psychologically. It makes us more like, oh my God, you know, someone can love me without sex who's sexual. This is amazing. I've got a chance of a real lasting love life relationship. This is great, you know, and this is how, you know, because logically, if you're romantic, you really like the guy you're attracted to, he's sexual, and he says he can live and love you without sex and make out this perfect picture of you holding hands, which is what he's doing, you know, being under the moonlight together, having coffees, lots of cuddles, lots of kisses, you know, ideally what I would love. That's what he's telling me what I want to hear. You know, there may be an ounce of truth in that. I'm not saying he might be a really romantic guy to even have the notion of these romantic things. He's probably got some romance in him. He probably is, but is this a romantic asexual issue or a romantic woman issue? That's a really good question. I think it's a issue with asexuals, particularly who get attracted or involved with foreigners, because it's the visa they want. I'm talking about very specific visa issues in the beginning, but with the emotional manipulation, it can be male or female or any gender, and it's not just for asexuals, it's for the whole of the world. People try and manipulate people, but what people do is they try to manipulate vulnerable people. And they try to manipulate people who are lacking in something or who need something that they can't get very easily. So it's like, for example, I even read an article about a woman who's very picky. You know, for example, like there was this really good article that I read about from a guy coach talking to women, and women in this article were always saying, you know, this is a typical heterosexual article, not an asexual article. I have to stipulate that, but it still can be relevant because the women were saying, I can never get a good guy, I can never get a right guy. And the bloke who's a coach saying it's not the fact that you can't get a right guy, because there a lot of guys aren't right. Probably about 5% of the population of guys are good guys suitable for relationship material. But it's the fact that the women who say they can't get a good guy, they cling to the wrong guy for far too long. And a guy uses manipulation tactics when they see that something's limited in their life. So say like with me, I'm very restrictive on what I like, right? I'm very like, I don't want marriage, I don't want kids, I don't want to live with anyone. I like foreign guys. You know, I'm very restricted in what I want, or very niche is another way to put it, or very knowledgeable, know exactly what I want. You know, there's different ways of looking at it. But from a guy point of view, trying to manipulate me, he'll see the fact that I'm vulnerable in the sense of if he thinks I'm needing that, right? If he sees any way that I'm needing a romantic relationship, he'll see that I'm vulnerable in that way, that it's hard for her to get someone without sex or love without sex, a mere relationship without sex, and accommodate all these needs. So I'll step in and be that guy for her, then she'll want me badly. Do you see what I'm saying? This is how it is part of psychological manipulation, which I could be asexual and the person could still be doing stuff like that to me. But if I was sexual, I could have the sex, so I could pick from a whole load of guys. Do you see what I'm saying? I could pick, like, if I was sexual, I mean, I have loads of sexual guys after me all the time. I mean, if I was a sexual person, it'd be easy for me to get a boyfriend. I could pretty much go out every night and get whatever guy I wanted. It happens to be true. I have loads of sexuals after me a lot of the time. And a lot, you know, that's cut down somewhat because of my attitude towards sexuals, the fact I don't want them near me, and the way I don't communicate very much with sexuals anymore. But you know, that's a way for me to look vulnerable, and I'm consciously aware of that about myself. Like when I put on my Facebook profile, this guy's friends with me, he's an entrepreneur, so I didn't know he liked me in that way, although I saw him like a lot of my posts. You know, he saw that I said about an asexual soulmate who's Indian. For one, he didn't know I liked Indian guys, so he's immediately come on the picture because of that. for two, he has let his guard down a little bit by saying there's not that, because I said, well, you know, you like a lot of women, obviously, not just me, so go and be asexual. He's like, yeah, I like he's like, yeah, but a lot of women are not very friendly towards foreign guys because we've got old culture. So he was showing me a bit of his vulnerable side, and that's a bit of the truth. That yeah, he might like a lot of women, but there's not many prepared to speak to him like I am and be friendly. That's what he's trying to say to me, and that limits his choices. But excuse me, and that limits his choices. So he's showing me a little bit of his vulnerable side. The fact that, you know, there's not, I do know that some foreign people have a hard time connecting with others. And he's telling me, he said he likes British women. He's also told me he's applied for a tourist visa before and he didn't get it or stopped it. He's got people, family in the UK, like he's got his cousin's brother or something in the UK. Like, why does he need me to get him into this country? Why does he need a visa? Like, you know, it's always the same thing. Oh, I really like you, but I have visa problem. Do you know what I mean? When people say I have visa problem, I like you in the same blimmin' sentences, it's a bit like, well, in other words, you have a visa problem and you like me because you've got a visa problem, but you probably do like me as well because you see I am a good person, like you're saying, because a lot of guys, particularly foreign guys, they do get attracted to the fact I'm very open, very honest, very pure, as they say it. They do find that an attractive quality, so I'm not going to say he's not attracted to me. I think he probably is really attracted to me, but not in the way he's making out, that I want to be with you in a romantic relationship and be there with you and come over there and spend my life with you type way. That's the bit that I don't think's correct. That's the bit I think he's using to try and manipulate me. And the way he's doing it is by trying to get me to open up and share my days with him, trying to get me to rely on him because he's going, oh, well, you know, I'm always here for you. You know, don't be shy, message me. And it's like, oh, I'm getting a little bit jealous that you're going, you know, you're meeting your asexual friends. It's like, I don't even know this guy. Why is he even getting jealous? It's ridiculous. And he's just like, you know, and it's just being silly, isn't it? It's like kindergarten, really. Which in, you know, kindergarten's an American term, but I'm guessing you know what that means. Like play school. Do you know what I mean? Over here, it's like, what's going on? And so, yeah, I just, you know, so if a guy, if anyone's watching this, if a guy, because I'm talking from a guy's point of view, is talking about, you know, getting a visa, but I'm sure it probably happens, you know, with other guys as well. But as foreigners are frowned upon having homo-romantic relationships, then it's more likely, I guess, to happen to a woman because they can be seen with a woman. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if it's with a guy, they'll probably try other emotional manipulation tactics. But yeah, they still try a lot on, like I said, because I know I've had people, guys that have been really upset with the emotional blackmail and manipulation. You know, one guy turned around and said, oh, if you split up with me, he told this homo-romantic guy, then I'll tell your secrets to people. Do you see what I mean? I mean, that's emotional blackmail at the highest level. It's disgusting. So that was a guy with a non-asexual guy with a homo-romantic. So these things do happen, and you know, there's certain vulnerabilities with being asexual if you really want a relationship. If you don't want a relationship, you haven't got that vulnerability. But if there's a sense of any type of desperation or any type of longing, like I do have a longing to be with my asexual Indian soulmate. I'm not going to lie about it or hide it, but I'm quite consciously aware nowadays that guys use that to manipulate. It's like the lack principle. If something's lacking, they feel that they can come in, provide that, so yours is not lacking, so you need them and attach yourself. That's how it works. But luckily, I'm remaining as detached as possible because I can get attached really quickly to a guy. So I'm remaining as detached as possible from this guy. A little bit of me likes the attention from him, if I'm honest. A little bit of me likes the romance and all the ideology that he's pointing my way. There is a part of me that likes that. He's a very attractive Indian guy. He's into business. So there are attractive things about him. There are already some little bits of tiny fragments of what could be considered a little bit of attachment growing. You know, I've got to be very careful of that because I'm very aware of what he's up to. I mean, you know, who knows? He could be sweet and innocent, but I don't see him like that. I don't see these guys as sweet and innocent, you know. I see these guys as very manipulative and You know, if they are genuine guys, they will find a way to get over here and be with me at the end of the day, because he's saying he's got money. So I've told him the ways. He said I already know some of these stuff. So if he already knows something, he's obviously tried to get in the UK before, right, and hasn't been able to. So he said tourist visa didn't work out, right? So he said he's got like his brother's cousin. I mean, why isn't he getting all these people who live in the UK to help him get a job? You know, and he's going, oh, I need sponsorship, you know? See, that's another thing. They come to me because they think I've got a lot of money, which is a joke because I don't. And, but the way I portray myself online with everything I've done, because I've spent a lot of money on my education over the years, but they think because I got money that I can give them a sponsorship. It's not true, because I'm like, well, I don't have the money. Actually, I was made redundant last year, so I sell a few t-shirts. And my asexual book, you know, it's not bringing in stack loads of money, is it? Do you see what I'm saying? So, you know, I just told myself I don't have money, you know, and it's like, if that's what they're after, they can go away. So I know that there's been other women that have been taken in, asexual women that have been taken in by the facade, let me call it, that these foreign guys do, and they'll be friends with them for a very long time and not realise the manipulation. There was one guy, he started talking to me, and I realised very, very quickly that he was trying to get into the country. And then when I said to this woman who he'd been friends with for over a year, I think it was, about what he's like, she goes, well, I didn't realise he's like that. I said, yeah, he's using you to try and get in the country, because he said all this stuff to me, and because I called him out on it and said, well, you're just looking to get a visa, I know what you're up to, he stopped talking to me then and got really funny with me and then just stopped talking to me. Why? Because I was telling the truth. And that woman who he'd been friends with for nearly a year, he just built up such a romantic, such an emotional attachment with her, sorry. And she said, oh, I did, you know, she said, well, surely you wouldn't have been friends with me for a whole year to get a visa out of me. I said, yeah, because it's trust, isn't it, over time? The more they spend time with you, the more they build up trust with you, the more that you want to do for them, because you've got this attachment and you care about them and you feel for them. And that's why they do it. And so it's really sad that, you know, I'm not going to know if there's a genuine guy out there who's foreign unless they come over to this country. So what I say to everyone is, all right, you want me, you're interested in me, you get in this country. Then when you're in this country, then maybe we can talk about stuff like this, you know? But until you get in this country, it's not happening, you know? And a lot of the time they won't bother. A lot of the time they're lazy. I mean, why do you think they come to me for help? If I was moving to another, I told this guy, you know, I said, if I was trying to move to another country, I would not expect someone to help me get into the country. I'd look and research for myself and find a way of making myself be in that country if I really wanted to be in there. Do you know what I mean? I said, you can be a student. I said, you've got money. He said he's got money. I said, well, you can pay to be a student then, can't you? You can study in the UK, or you have to get a visa for 5 years and work, get a job, and then after the 5 years, you can apply for UK residency. Job done, isn't it? You know, you got money. And he deals in cryptocurrency. And I thought, great. I said, cryptocurrency. I said, well, can make a packet of that. All you need, I think, is £100,000 to start a business in the UK. If you've got tons of money, you can come and build your own business over in the UK, can't you? So actually, I am actually helping him, because I've been all through this before. You can see how much I've been through it with other guys. You know, the other thing is sponsorship. And I said to him, there's a list of HMRC, HM Revenues and Customs in the UK. There's a list of all sponsorship companies. And he goes, oh, I know, I've seen that already. So before he even talked to me, he was actually thinking about coming in this country. So it's not like a guy that just decided to totally use me to get in this country with no intention of wanting to be in it. But he wants to come in this country. He likes British women. He told me he doesn't like his own culture very much. And he wants the freedom of British life. See what I mean? It's all the signs of, yeah, I want to be in this country. Oh, didn't know she liked Indian guys. Well, yeah, let's jump on that, you know? And it's hard to tell any truth about these people. And it's sad. I think it's really sad, because I think there probably are a few, very, very few genuine guys out there. And you're never going to know really if they're genuine or not. The only thing I'd say is if they're prepared to, like, you know, just make their own way into the country, and they're not asking you for a visa, they're not even bringing that up or anything, and they're going to come off their own back, then maybe they're genuine. But when a guy who hardly knows you is all of a sudden already bringing up visa and stuff like that, he's already saying he had a tourist visa but couldn't get in there, he got declined, he's already asking you to help him, Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, I can't help you. You want it, you come here yourself. It's like, you don't owe these people anything. And so this is like the state of this situation. And I just want to point it out because I know quite a lot of women that I've come across, asexual girls, they get very taken in by these guys sometimes. I've been taken in by them for a little while myself, you know, and it's hard because we do want true love. And it's hard because some of these foreign guys are very romantic. There was a foreign guy, right? Asexual, supposedly, guy. And he started talking to me and chatting me up when he had a girlfriend. He started being interested in me, saying he could come over here and be with me. And then I found out he got another asexual girlfriend, and I sent her the screenshots. And yeah, he was completely lying to her. And then he said, oh, like, I'd really be interested in you, meaning me. But I sent her the screenshots to prove he said he was. And so, you know, she knew he'd been lying all along. And he was just manipulating her because he, you know, he wants stuff from her. I mean, some guys, they don't even want to get into this country. Some guys, they just love the ego boost, yeah? They love the fact that they want an online, dedicated relationship where you have like a long distance relationship with them, totally dedicated to them. You never be with anyone else. You just have a long distance relationship totally with them. I mean, they're going to be off with other women, or, well, I'm talking about blokes here because I'm a woman. So they're going to be off with other women. They're going to be doing what the hell they want. They just want someone dedicated to them for their ego. That's all they want. Not because they love you, but because it makes their ego feel amazing. And it's just disgusting that these things happen, but they do. And I like to point out a lot of these things on this channel because there's a lot of other channels that don't cover all this stuff. Because I'm on the asexual dating scene a lot. I'm involved in, you know, I talk a lot about asexual relationships on this channel. I run two asexual dating groups. I understand asexual dating problems and relationship problems quite a lot. I can speak on this channel quite confidently and say these are some of the real genuine issues that asexuals do face. I'm not saying that other orientations don't face them, but I'm speaking on behalf of asexuals because this is the channel for asexuals to help them. So I'm kind of like very different on this channel in some of the topics I talk about and the depth I go into that others do. My mind, what, you know, kind of like part of my niche here is asexual dating and relationships and how the dynamics work as well. And, you know, and I did a video about 12 signs of a narcissist, and that's a really good video. It's got a very lot of praise because there's quite a lot of people in my dating groups, and they've, you know, been involved in, you know, people coming into their life that's been a narcissist. I've had narcissists in my life, one I used to have to work with for years. That's the benefit of not being in an employed job anymore. I don't have to put up with a bully who was a narcissist. It was horrible. I was there in the company for 5 years, loved my job, but not the guy. Was horrible to me. It was horrible. And I had to take time off work because it got that bad in the end for a couple of weeks, which I didn't normally do. So, you know, it's how to deal with a narcissist and signs of narcissists. There's 2 videos on it. And one asexual guy said he had a woman that he recognised the signs of being a narcissist from my video. And he said what a good video it was and how it's helped him. And it'll help a lot of other people. So he was on about this woman that he literally travelled half the globe for to get over to her country. And when he turned up, she couldn't see him. So it was just horrible for him. And he genuinely cared about her and thought he had an emotional connection and everything with her. So it doesn't just happen to women. It happens to guys as well, these type of things. But I just, you know, want to make sure that people are aware that if a guy says I have a visa problem, the main thing is this person's problem, this whoever, male, female, whatever gender, who's having problems with their visa is not your problem. So if you encounter someone who's going on saying I've got this visa problem and trying to make you feel in some way responsible for helping them, in some way like, oh, you're a kind person, you'll help me, won't you? It's like, no, you're a kind person, but you're not a mug. So let them be. Like, they're old enough to take care of themselves. They're responsible enough. They've managed perfectly well in their life until they met you. You know, they're independent. They can do what they like. They can very well find out how to get in the UK or other European countries or whichever country they're trying to get into by themselves. If they're not prepared to do that and they just want to be lazy about it and try and manipulate someone into doing that for them or getting them that, then they are not worth your time. And, you know, my cousin in the UK, she used to be assistant manager of a hotel for a long time. And she used to have foreigners come in the UK And literally there would be staff that would work there and they would marry. She told me the majority would marry to get a visa. So they married and they've married the person for 5 years. Didn't matter what age the person was, for 5 years, and then they would literally divorce them as soon as they've been married 5 years, so they can then apply for residency and stay in this country. And that is what happened to the majority. Now, my cousin is with a foreign guy, but she's not married to him. They met through her work. But she's lives with him, but not married to him at all. And he just used to go back and renew his visa all the time, so she wouldn't marry him. And I won't marry a guy. I mean, that is the first option they'll always want, usually, is marriage. They'll usually always want marriage because that secures their life and place in the UK. And then what they'll do is, if they say they're not the marriage type, then all of a sudden, after a while, they'll be the marriage type. And they'll be like, well, I don't see any other way of getting into the country and being together because I love you so much and I really want to be with you. But marriage, there doesn't seem to be any other option. I've had a guy do that to me as well. I had this guy who was totally dead against marriage. I hate marriage. I'm not interested in it. I said, I do too. And then a few days later, it was like, well, I've looked how to get in the UK and, I really like you and everything, but I'm not going to be able to get in there without marriage. And although I really don't want to get married, it looks like it's the only option. Do you see what I mean? It's just manipulation at the highest degree. It's horrible. And this is what they get up to sometimes. And I think it's really sad because there's genuine people out there who are foreign who genuinely want a loving, caring relationship. And they might need to move in the future to be with their partner. Like, I know there's some people that do, have true love and they do meet a person. Like there was a UK guy I used to know at college and he actually went to move abroad to live with his partner and get married. I know a blogger friend and, well, two blogger friends, and both of those friends, the guys, lived in the UK. Both of them have gone abroad and got married. One of them is amazing. He's like in his 70s and he's married a woman that's like in her 30s. I think she's late 30s. She is. I think she's 39 and he's like 72, I think. So yeah, and they're married and living together with their cats. So yeah, it can. I mean, I was very skeptical about that beginning, but now they seem really happy together. I'm like, great, and he gets on well with the father-in-law, which is her dad. So and I like younger guys, so I can't exactly say too much. But just he's been hurt in the past. I didn't want him to be hurt again because he's a blogger friend I've known for years. The 72-year-old. I think he's 72. So either 71 or 72. I think he's 72 or 72 this year. But yeah. So, but yeah, they got married, and the other blogger friend, I've known him for quite a long time, and he got married and he moved abroad. So, but I know tends to be like the people I know tend to be guys from the UK moving to other countries rather than people from other countries moving to the UK. But obviously it must work the other way, that there are genuine people who do want to move to the other person's country, do want to move to the UK because they've genuinely found love. There must be some people like that out there. But the ones I tend to get, the ones that, they don't really need to come in this country, they just want to, and they use you to get into it. And it's just quite sad that they do that. I think it's very heartbreaking. I think it's it's just a waste of life and time, because you end up spending all this energy on believing they really care about you, believing they really want to be with you, believing they really love you, believing you've got a special bond with them, when really what they just want is a visa and they just want to get in this country. And I just think that is so sad. And there might be an element of truth to what they're saying. They might really like you, but that's not their main purpose and cause. Their main purpose, of course, is get in this country. Because, once they get... this guy, right, he's not even asexual, this Indian guy, right? He can get in the country and then, all right, thanks very much, you got me into this country. Like, I'll have a nice sexual girl now. I can see what photographs he's liked on Facebook, and the majority are women. So my friend told me this trick, right? Really, really good trick. Is if you get the... it's not even really a trick, I call it a trick. So basically, if you want to see if someone's been looking at different photographs of women. So say you've got a guy and he's like, oh, I'm asexual, and you've got doubts. Or say someone's not asexual, but they say they're not into sex, or they're not that interested, which is another thing they sometimes say. All you do is type up... If you're on Facebook, you just type in their Facebook name, but you put photos liked by and their actual Facebook name, and it comes up showing all the photographs they liked, and then you can scroll through them and see how many what photographs they like. So if you get a person who says they're asexual and they literally nearly all the photographs are of women with barely any clothes on. Some asexual guys do still like a naked body, I'm not going to deny that, But usually, the ones that aren't really asexual, they're the ones that are like a lot of stuff like that, you know, and they'll like it on Facebook and they'll have it all over their pages, and sometimes they like it on their profile, and you know, and also you can see what they're saying about other people. Like with women, are they just saying, yeah, that's cool, like a business thing, or are they actually going, oh, you're hot, you're gorgeous, I'd like to have sex with you type thing? Then you know that they're not asexual. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you just like, yeah, that is a neat thing to do. Yeah, so if you've got a person's name, you're not sure about them, you can see what photos they've liked. It might not even be of people, it might be of objects they've liked, or animals. Do you know what I mean? You can actually see and tell more about what a person likes, what a person is like, by seeing what photographs they like. Because being asexual, especially if you're thinking about relationships, I'm not on social media. Good for you, Michael. Apart from YouTube, because obviously you're here watching this, which is social media. You know, because you can, you know, anyone can go on your YouTube channel and see what things you've liked if you've got your likes public. If you haven't, haven't got a hope in heck. But, you know, always, safety should always come first if you're, you know, concerned in any way that person might not be genuine, or you just want to check them out. Safety should always be a number one priority. And you should always be like, if you're not sure of someone new that's coming to your life, I check them out on social media. You know, that's one of the first things I do. As soon as I've got some information about what it is, you know, I check them out on social media and I find out, you know, are they some psycho, or are they really nice people, or have they got problems, or what's going on? You know, sometimes, you know, obviously you have to be careful that you look at things as logically as possible. But yeah, it's very interesting, and I just hope that someone who's like, you know, possibly worried that they might be being manipulated, or have this thing saying, I want a visa. That's why I put it in the title, because I have a problem with visa. Demisexuals have nothing in common with asexuals. Well, demisexuals are part of the asexual spectrum, so actually that's not true. Demisexual, I don't know. You see, I don't know what people's understanding of demisexual, because I met an LGBT woman recently. She didn't seem to understand totally what a demisexual was. But demisexual is someone, a genuine demisexual, not an ordinary sexual, a genuine demisexual. Because I run the grey asexual and demisexual dating group, so I do have experience of knowledge of other demisexuals and what being a demisexual is like for them, because they tell me in their groups. I'm friends with demisexuals. So demisexual can only form have sex with someone they've formed a very strong emotional connection with. If you've got someone calling themselves demisexual, yet they don't need a strong emotional bond and can just have sex, that's not a demisexual. I've met someone like that who started talking about being demisexual, and they mentioned, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's like, I want sex with you. I'm like, well, you haven't formed a strong emotional bond with me. I don't even know you, so therefore you can't, by definition, be demisexual. If you haven't got an emotional bond with me, you've only just met me after 5 seconds flat. Do you see the difference? So demisexuals, you know, they usually have to have this really, really strong, deep emotional connection. So they could, sometimes it might be like a couple of years before they get that. It might be a very, very long time. And during that period of time, they don't feel, you know, they can't have, you know, they don't feel the urge to have sex with someone. So that's how come they fall on the spectrum. But they're not pure asexuals. No, they're not pure asexuals. They do have experienced sexual attraction once a strong emotional bond's been formed. Once a strong emotional bond's been formed, usually it's often for only a select few people in their life, from the experience of demisexuals that I know. The majority of them anyway. You know, once that bond's been formed, it needs to be maintained as well. I mean, I know from one of the groups that they said that the bond seemed to have changed with their partner, and they were in a poly relationship, but they were demisexual. But they said that the bond's different between them. The person doesn't feel they're so bonded anymore, and because the bond had gone from what it was before, then they couldn't feel sexual attraction like they used to for that person. It's kind of more of a friendship relationship. And so genuine demisexuals, they really do need that strong emotional connection, and in between they are, like, to all intents and purposes, asexual in the way they think during the time that they can't do that. Obviously, you've got to be very careful, because demisexual is the next thing on to being normal, as society would see it, sexual. They're very close together. I had a sexual friend who knows that I'm asexual bring up demisexuality to complain about it, because they thought I'd agree with them that it's made up, and were surprised when I said that it's not. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I needed to take time to understand demisexuality myself, because it's kind of really hard. Because, you know, I think there's some people in the world calling themselves demisexual and they don't have a clue what it actually means, and they're just sexual with needing a... It's kind of a really hard one, because there are sexuals that do need an emotional connection to have a relationship, like a normal, like a average heterosexual usually needs an emotional connection to stay in a relationship, for example. But they can have sex with just for the sexual desire or sexual attraction. They don't need the emotional connection to have sex with someone. That's the difference. They because they have sexual attraction, they have sexual desire, particularly the sexual desire. They don't need the emotional connection if they got the sexual desire. They desire the sex itself. Sexual attraction, it is a tricky one, because, you know, you've got to be very careful that some sexuals who just need more of emotional connection than other sexuals do don't start calling themselves demisexuals. And through my experience, a demisexual has to have the feelings of the emotional bond reciprocated. So a person who has experienced sexual attraction, usually, like, for example, your average heterosexual, even if that person isn't emotionally attracted back to them, emotionally attached to them, emotionally connected with them, they can still feel that sexual attraction, want sex with that person. Whereas if that was demisexual and that person's no longer emotionally bonded to them, they would probably not want sex with them, because they wouldn't experience that sexual attraction. It's reliant upon the bond. A genuine demisexual is reliant upon that bond. And if it's not there anymore, or it's gone, then it kind of means that so is the sexual attraction, usually not there or gone. Whereas your average heterosexual, they could still experience sexual attraction, want sex, despite the fact the emotional bond's gone, or not there, or isn't as good anymore. From my experience, that's how I understand it. I mean, it's very difficult, because on the grey end of the asexual spectrum, you've got grey sexuals, grey asexuals, grey A's. You've got something called, is it black asexuality now? I can't, or dark asexuality, I think it's called, dark asexuality. And you've got, like, you know, you've got people that are demisexuals. They describe themselves as heterosexual, demisexual, which gets very confusing as to whether they're actually heterosexual or demisexual. I get that when they come into my group sometimes, and I'm trying to decipher whether they actually are demisexual or heterosexual. And that, you know, it's how they describe themselves, because some of them don't want to describe themselves as tall as asexual. That's why they use the heterosexual, if they're heterosexual, obviously, if they're attracted to the opposite sex. But they'll use the heterosexual demisexual, because they're demisexual until they got a deep emotional connection where they become heterosexual. So it gets even for me, it gets a bit mind-boggling sometimes. And it's a very, you know, there gets to be a very fine line between what is actual demisexuality and what is full, normal, heterosexual, normal, in quotation marks, heterosexuality. And I think, you know, that can get a bit, you know, it's got to be careful not to get too blurred. Otherwise, we end up in the territory of people saying they're demisexual when they're not really. You know, because it's quite common for most sexuals still to want some emotional connection. That's what binds relationships together, not just sexual attraction a lot of the time. It is the emotional connection that keeps people faithful to each other, usually. So with people like, for example, heterosexuals, one of the reasons why they'll strain a relationship is because they don't have that. One is it could be sexual desire, so they just desire the sex and they need it, and they'll get it from wherever. If they haven't had it with their partner for a while, they'll just need it and go out and get it. And the other thing is if they're getting more emotional connection and attention from someone else. So if they're forming deep emotional connection with someone else and they haven't got that with their partner, it will make them more lean towards that other person and think about having an affair with them, because they're not getting the attention or emotional connection at home, for example, if they live with them, than they would be from that other person. So, you know, it's not just breaking up because of lack of sex. Sometimes it's lack of sex, sometimes it's lack of communication, sometimes it's lack of emotional connection and attachment. So there's quite a lot of different reasons why people split up. It's not all based on just sex. But yeah, I hope that's been helpful anyway, this video. I know some people hopefully will see the title if they're feeling a bit stuck, or they're asexual and they think, oh, I've got this guy, you know, they might recognise it and think, oh, it could be woman or agender or gender fluid person, couldn't it? Anyone can emotionally manipulate, you know, regardless of gender. I just talk about it from a female to male point of view a lot of the time because I am female and that's where I'm coming from. But hopefully some people see the title and think, oh, I recognise that type of language, you know. I have a problem with the visa because that's the wording they usually use. And you're like, okay, cha-ching. So yeah, anyway, really nice to talk to you. Thanks for tuning in again. I really appreciate that. I will see you hopefully on the next video tomorrow. Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month, day 29 tomorrow. Yeah, looking at my calendar. Had a wonderful time at the meetup with the two guys today. Really, really fantastic time. It was amazing. Thanks, Michael. Really nice to see you. Take care. Have a good day. Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Bye. Oh, and anyone who's not already subscribed, please subscribe now. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Really important, because by giving me a thumbs up on this channel, it means that I spread more awareness of asexuality because it goes up in the search engines. That's why it's important to give the thumbs up. And hit that bell icon if you haven't already, once you've subscribed, if you're not already subscribed. And share this video with all your friends. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up, Michael. Appreciate that. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Take care. Bye. Bye.